Actor James Wood and actress Stacy Dash have some very harsh criticism for Reverend Al Sharpton and other people like Bill DeBlasio, Mayor Bill DeBlasio, after the two NYPD police officers were ambushed and shot in New York. Now, they want to place the blame on public figures that have been outspoken against police brutality, and I'll give you a few examples of the tweets that they put out in regard to all of that. Stacy Dash wrote the following. These murders are the natural result of the jihad on cops that Reverend Al and Mayor Bill DeBlasio have called for. They should be held accountable. Okay, so that's her commentary on the situation.
Look, she's so sad because she was an actress for like 3.5 seconds. And then her time passed. And then this is her way of getting back in the news by being like, oh, I'm a conservative black person who's from Hollywood. And it works like a charm. She's in every conservative conference now. They're like, we have one. We found a black liberal. Well, she's not a liberal. She's a conservative from Hollywood black. And she's on our side, so we must be right by definition. So here she is saying absolute nonsense, blaming DeBlasio and stuff like this, and the jihad on cops. Come on, man.
Yeah, look, I don't even know if it's worth having this discussion, but I really think that Stacy Dash and right-wingers that continuously say this and place the blame on public figures like this genuinely believe it, right? Mm-hmm. They think that any type of criticism toward police officials will immediately convince people to go out there and carry random acts of violence, which is, it's honestly so ridiculous. I mean, you want to have a fair discussion about what's happening within our police force, within, the militarization of police force. Like, you're not allowed to have that conversation at all because 2 cops got shot by a random whack job. That's ridiculous.
No, Anna, come to think of it, they're onto a decent point here. You shouldn't criticize the people in power like the police, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you do, it could lead to violence against all of us, and in this case, particularly the police. That's why you shouldn't criticize President Obama ever. It will only lead to attacks against this country. Mm-hmm. So if you're criticizing President Obama, you're obviously doing a jihad against the U.S.
Right.
And helping the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and ISIS. I'm sure Stacy Dash and all the right-wingers would agree, right? From now on, if you don't want this country attacked, bow your head to the people in charge. And President Obama happens to be in charge. So we're all agreed, right? Oh, I see. You're allowed to do any kind of political criticism you like, but when we do it, oh, you're leading to cop shootings.
And no one ever discusses the fact that the gunman shot his ex-girlfriend before carrying out the murders in New York, right? So was that the media's fault as well? Did the media convince this crazy person to also shoot his ex-girlfriend?
And the protesters and Bill DeBlasio.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. Anyway, James Woods also had some comments about this situation. He says, new hashtag, turn your back. Every time DeBlasio speaks, every police officer in sight should turn his or her back, especially at cops' funerals.
So now, some of the New York cops had turned their backs when DeBlasio walked into a press conference after the shootings, which I found despicable, and actually a lot of people are now saying it, even some of the people on CNN, and even some folks on Fox News were like, yeah, that's a bit much to do that, right? And remember that that's the mayor of New York City, got elected with about 3/4 of the vote. So they're kind of turning their back on the citizens in a lot of ways when you do that. And by the way, the New York cop union, right, has had issues with every mayor. I mean, it's not just Democratic mayors like Dinkins, Giuliani, he called him a liar and a cheat, and Bloomberg, and they protest against all of them. And even in this case, the police commissioner says, look, there's also some labor issues involved here, right? They'd like better pay and pensions and stuff. So that's part of the hostilities here, and it's been the hostilities in the past with Republicans too. So I mean, you want to talk about taking advantage of a situation where you should not be taking advantage of. Ugh.
Yeah. And he continues, DeBlasio and Sharpton have blood on their hands, live trading news, and then he links something. And then I'm putting wings on pigs today. Cop assassin Brinsley is race pimp Sharpton eating caviar this morning. Look, I don't think that Al Sharpton is the classiest guy on the planet. I don't agree with a lot of things that he's done in the past. I don't agree with a lot of his commentary today, right? But making an argument that someone is eating caviar and enjoying and rejoicing in the fact that 2 innocent police officers in New York were ambushed and killed is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this conversation has devolved at this point. I almost don't even want to engage in it. I almost don't even want to talk about it, right? Because I feel like all the rational people are being drowned out of the conversation, and all you hear from are people from the extremes. And I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
This is a serious issue in the country, and now it's devolved into this.
And I knew James Woods was a Republican, but you know, Kelsey Grammer is. There's a bunch of people that are celebrities that are Republicans. It's not a big deal, and mainly because they want lower taxes, because they're really rich, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't know James Woods was a prick, and it turns out he is, right? I mean, this isn't all there is to it. There was more and more tweets, and it's Obama's fault, and it's everybody's fault that he disagrees with politically, and they're the ones who have blood on their hands. The cops' blood on their hands. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. I mean, and if we said that about like Bush or Cheney in regards to the Iraq war where hundreds of thousands of civilians died, they'd say, how dare you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're being disrespectful to the commander-in-chief. How dare you, right? Now they throw it around like it's nobody's business.
Are they angry about the number of innocent U.S. soldiers that lost their lives because of a preemptive war? I've never heard them speak out against that.
James Woods, I'm sure, was irate about the made-up weapons of mass destruction and the non-existent link between Iraq and al-Qaeda that got over 5,000 of our troops killed, let alone tens of thousands that were lost limbs, maimed, wounded, etc. Even if he doesn't give a damn about hundreds of thousands of civilians that were dead in Iraq, right? I'm sure he's tweeting about that as we speak, right? Oh no, only on the political things that are on his side.
Right.